Hello there. We'll get started. We'll get started shortly. Okay, one moment. All right, welcome. It is 11 o'clock. We're going to take a comfortable seat on our mats and settle in. Take a big, deep breath in through your nose and sigh it out. Another big, deep breath in and sigh it out. Allow yourself to arrive in this moment, right here, right now. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, but be right here. Deepening your next inhalation. Take a big full breath in and sigh it out. Another big, deep, full breath in and sigh it out. See if you can relax into your body as you let go of anywhere you are holding, clenching, or tightening. Now tune into your senses, noticing the temperature and the texture of the air on your skin, becoming aware of any taste that's present in your mouth, noticing the smells that are coming to you, becoming aware of what you see in your mind's eye, lights, colors, shapes. And noticing the sounds around you, the sounds inside of the space we're in, and the sounds outside of the space we're in. Acknowledge it all and let it be. Now set your intention for our time together today. Holding that intention in your mind's eye. And when you're ready, let it go. And opening your eyes and coming back to this place from wherever it is that you just went. Grab your journal and take a moment to write out how your morning pages and your artist date went for the last week. So grab your journal and we're writing out how our morning pages and our artist dates went for the last week. All right. Getting to wrap up. I would love to hear how morning pages went, how artist date went. And what I mean is what came up for you in your morning pages when you're writing. If you didn't do them, what resistance did you feel around not doing them? Sarah, can I start with you?
Yeah. Um, my morning pages are helping me get sort of clarity about the choices I'm making in my life. I feel like I'm often, I don't know if it's like on autopilot, but like making these choices and just sort of, I don't know, not considering like why I'm doing them or how I really feel about them and things like that. So the morning pages are helping me get there. And then for my artist date, I had to drop a kid off about an hour away at like a campground. And on the way back, I just like rolled down the windows. I was still in my reading deprivation, so there was nothing on. I took the back roads on purpose, like didn't hop on the highway and just like drove by myself for that whole time. And I find that I'm really using my artist dates to be these like really present, immersive experiences, like where I'm just really present. And that's another thing that I think I don't get to do on a daily basis because I'm being pulled in different directions. And even now, and I'm going to tattle on myself, I'm like writing out Mother's Day cards while we're sitting here. Like I've always feel like I have multiple things going on, and I'm not. So I don't know. I've been using my artist dates to like really purposefully be like 100% present and just doing that thing. So
Monotasking, complete monotasking. That's
complete
great.
monotasking.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Dwinelva, will you share next?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I am so glad Sarah mentioned the reading deprivation because I actually had forgotten that I decided at least to do a day, a day, not a week. But anyway, so my morning pages are going great. I just love them. It just kind of helps me just take all that stuff out of there and just dump it. But what sort of popped up for me in my reading deprivation was how much I am clued into my phone. And
Mhm.
so I made a conscious decision. I was like, okay, for a day, I'm just gonna put that away. And what's so funny is for a period of time, actually in my house, I misplaced my phone. Like I didn't know where it was. So anyway, that was just funny. So anyway, so that was good. And I considered that my artist date because what it did was created space for me to declutter my closet and just spend like I felt like I didn't have to rush and I had all the time in the world and I got rid of stuff. I've probably been talking about that closet for a year. So that felt really good. And the other thing that has popped up for me is that I do not know how to play.
Ah,
I do not know how to play. I don't know how to play. So that's what has popped up for me. So with that, I'll pass. I'm open to all ideas.
uh, what would feel fun to you?
I know, like that's the problem. I have been so serious for most of my life that think that's part of my journey is to learn how to not be so serious. Like I've just been serious all my life. So I've got to figure that out.
You know, th- so as a fellow serious person, um, the thing that helps me play are like art workshops. Like, give me some bumpers on my play. I kind of just need like a container and to be told what to do, and then I feel like I can play within that space and time. But like I need bumpers. Um, I don't I don't know if that helps at all, but
Okay. Okay.
thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Um, T.
Um, I've been avoiding journaling a little bit and avoiding meditation, and that's a surefire sign that there's something I don't want to know. But I had a really good, my friend and I do a clearing exercise every week, and we did that, and I figured out I've become sort of battle ready over the last my whole life. ready for the next problem, ready to handle the next crisis. And now I've gotten to where I've done a lot of the work, the internal work and the work of making sure that the people in my life are people I really want there. And I'm just anxious. I'm not comfortable in this new peaceful space yet. It makes me very uncomfortable. Everything's going great, and that's just weird.
Mm.
To me, I don't know how to be here yet. I feel very awkward and very uneasy. So, that's how pages have been going on, and once I sort of figured that out, then I just took it to the page and it was fine. I did do Artist Date. I went to thrift stores. I love thrift stores. Was raised in thrift stores. Found a great little green crop top, bright Kelly green crop top, and wore it. Wore a crop top, and beautiful like glass, heavy metal and glass bead bracelet that is just like satisfies every bit of my little magpie heart. And just the just going to thrift stores is just I kind of grew up in thrift stores, so that's what I did for that. And now that I know, I kind of know what I'm avoiding, I can go avoid it on the page.
Thank you so much for sharing. Kelly, how about you?
I did not do so well this week with my morning pages, but it was a conscious choice. So we have guests staying with us this weekend, and instead of a closet that needed decluttering, I basically needed to declutter my entire basement because we don't have a guest room. And so I spent a lot of time doing that, but it actually felt really, really good because it had been something I've been putting off for like, I don't want to say the amount of time that it has been accumulating, but somewhere between 1.5 to 2 years, maybe. I just kind of had this doom pile where anytime I would like declutter something from my house, instead of actually getting rid of it, I would just like put it in this pile to deal with later. So I actually felt like that was like a really interesting like process to go through, like and I had so many emotions around it too, like why did I keep this thing for 2 years? Why do I have things that I was going to donate? Like, why am I treating my house like a garbage can? Like, this is my space. And the ironic thing, maybe that's not the right word, but like, here is my desk that I work at, that I'm sitting at right now. So like my day-to-day job is here, and my doom pile was literally off screen right next to me. And it just was always this like looming pressure. And then I also like set up this little desk back here where I can paint and leave some of my stuff out. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, this is space. Like, this is what I've been needing in my life. And so I don't know, like, even though I wasn't journaling, it did feel kind of like this process of like letting go, reflecting, finding old journals, starting to read some things, and like just seeing this sort of like patterns throughout my life. So yeah, it was like really interesting, just the weight of physical stuff. And now I feel this like renewed sense of like, okay, like this work is really important to give myself space to create, to give myself space to just relax. And I think they kind of talked about that in the book too, like when you get this like urge to start decluttering, like to follow it. And then for my artist date this week, I actually had a 4-hour long like presentation I had to listen to for work. So while I did not deprive myself of any sort of incoming messaging, I did just sit and listen to the meeting. And I worked on this paint by number that one of my friends gave me a 1.5 years ago, and I finally finished it. It was like the most tedious thing I've ever done in my life. And my husband kept saying, why are you doing a paint by number? You can just paint all by yourself and it's a fine painting. And now you're doing this thing. And I was like, I don't know. I started it. I feel like I need to finish it. I probably spent, no joke, 100 hours on this paint by number because they're like that big of spots and each one was a different color. And I don't know. So it felt really good to finish that too. So this felt like this week of just being like, stop putting things off, start doing things. You just have to do things. That was kind of the message I think that I got this week.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Sounds like you had an incredible week. Really good stuff coming up. Kristen, how about you?
There we go. The benefit of going last, and I resonate with something that each and every one of you have said on so many levels. For me, the morning pages have been a struggle this week, and I didn't realize it until we were reflecting, until I paused and like, how is it going? I don't have any real good excuses right now to not get to the pages. But I've been resisting it, and I still like have been. I think more than half of the days I got 2 or 3 pages because I've got a lot of stuff that I'm working on processing, and so I've been using it for that, but I haven't been getting into like the stuff in the chapters and the exercises that I really wanted to this time. But it's like I'm resisting it, like I can feel it, and I'm like there's something that is not wanting to go that deep, or just not wanting to do the work. I actually think it's the fear that there's no magic answer. I just need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And sometimes my morning pages are magical and it gives me the answer, and I just haven't had that. So I'm like, I'm not it right now. Artist dates have been good because I'm taking some time away to work from work just to focus on trying to, do the things that matter to me. And so I kind of count all of that. So I ordered some art supplies. I've been volunteering at a middle school, and my daughter actually comes up and hugs me in front of her middle school friends. Took them to a concert. I've been, getting my art room decluttering, all, so I consider all of that kind of artist dates, but all at the same time, I feel like I'm just kind of checking things off the list. Like these are the things that I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I'm still working on trying to find like the real joy and real play in it, but it does feel good. And I'm with Alicia and Dwanava on it didn't occur to me until today, but the not really knowing how to play, but when it's structured, because I'm like, wait a second, I play all the time, but when it's structured, then I do okay. But one thing I did write down is that I do feel like I'm really good in general since doing the artist way at being in the moment. So if I'm out on a walk, I've been walking a lot more lately, and I realize that I'm always like looking at the ground, and I stand up and look around and I focus on deep breathing, and I see, oh, it's a blue jay instead of a cardinal today. And so like just being in the moment, I'm doing more of that. I have full on resistance to reading deprivation. So I'll try again this week, but I just it was a hard rejection this time. So
Maybe let it go then. Yeah. Yeah, Monica, awesome. Can you share?
Can you guys, so I still don't have internet at home because in Europe there is no customer service. Can you guys see me and hear me okay? Okay. I had a really great week with morning pages. I'm really finding myself like having this need to do them. I've even been getting up a little earlier so I can do them before I go to the gym. And I wrote down something, I can't remember if it was Kelly or Sarah who said it last week. But in terms of reading deprivation and sitting with silence, like there's definitely some kind of fear there. And I'm really noticing that a lot more than I have the past times I've done the artist way. So I'm really trying to work through what that is. And instead of reading deprivation, my deprivation was no YouTube like doom video of US news. I took a lot of time off from that and I just listened to music, and it was so liberating. It was so freeing. And I really found it made a lot of space for me mentally to do other things. As simple as going for a walk or playing with some markers. And then I had 2 artist dates. I got some really cool art markers and just did some super simple doodles, and it was super fun. But then I also had gifted myself an astrology reading, but my astrologer broke her leg last fall. So I've been waiting 6 months for this astrology reading, and it was awesome. And I mentioned I was doing the artist way, and she was like, I really want you to tap into that and pay attention if you feel a call to writing. So I'm putting that out in the universe. But yeah, overall for me, really positive week.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And it's so nice to see your face. I'm so excited. So this is all good stuff. Each of you, I know even in the tough stuff, it can be hard to like, but it sounds like you all already are seeing that, like even the tough stuff is the good stuff. And so this week in the chapter, we read chapter 5. So chapter 5 is recovering a sense of possibility. So I'd love for you to just take a moment and jot down what stood out to you from chapter 5. And I'm gonna quick go to the restroom because I've been drinking so much water while you guys write down your notes about chapter 5, and I'll be right back to check in. All right, what stood out to you about chapter 5?
Well, I guess I was just thinking about the limitations. What stood out to me is just sort of taking a look at the limitations that I put on myself, the way I sabotage by not sort of paying attention to what my true self is saying. And I was particularly struck because, I'm rereading this again. I was particularly struck by some of the exercises at the end, and that those ways of just trying to sort of allow yourself to think like these impossible things. And I just, I think I'm just struck by how I need to release that and just be open. And this chapter is all about being open and just allowing the process, allowing it just to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. What else about chapter 5? There's so much in here. Monica.
So I loved all these exercises. This is actually one of my favorite chapters. But I think one of the big realizations that I've really come to over the last week is that the way that I've been living a majority of my life has really been acting out of fear, like fear of getting fired, fear of losing my job, fear of, Kelly knows, working in the apparel industry, fear of having people at work yell and throw things at you and berate you on a regular basis, fear of judgment, all of those things. And when I looked at my wish lists, the reason I'm not doing any of those things is really being driven by a lot of fear. And I'm really, this is really the first time I've had that breakthrough. And I can see a lot of potential to hopefully move past that and really start living in a way that feels more authentic to me and less based on all of this fear.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, T.
This is the first time that I noticed that all of my like things I wouldn't, if it weren't too blank, I would do such and such. Really were more about expense and about sort of being worried about what's going to happen in the country. And wanting to have more of a reserve and feeling very unsure in that way. In a way I've never felt before. So it was interesting to go, wow, that is really affecting me in a very, very different way. And it felt like now is not the time to splash out on a big, skydiving, private lessons and things kind of thing. Because I feel like I kind of need to suss out at least, in this year, see how things are going to play out. And sort of see what can be done, what's gonna hold, what isn't. So I do feel like it's the first time in my life, I think, where I felt that way. And which is sad. But where that is what's keeping me from splashing out on some things.
Thank you for sharing that. What else about chapter 5?
I didn't read it this week, but it was interesting when I looked back and looked at notes from previous times that I've read it. Like there were things that were literally like screaming at me to what I needed to hear right now. And it's I think there's one point where it's talking about, the unlimited supply. And for me, the accepting abundance because I feel like I'm taking it away from someone else. Excuse me, and being worthy of that. But then I also had circled the letting go of having to sabotage ourselves. And in the margins next to it, I wrote, what capital letters underlined? Did this book just say this? And it said, just now when I'm struggling with this very thing. And I think that I am still struggling with that same thing, in that willingness to receive the good and feeling worthy of receiving the good. Because I believe in the big dreams, and I certainly support other people when they're believing in their big dreams, and I believe they can be real, but there's something about me not feeling like I'm worthy. And I know that's not true, but I think that's where I get stuck.
What strikes me about that last part that you just said, I've been like going down a Joe Dispenza rabbit hole, and I don't know if you guys know who Joe Dispenza is, but he teaches a ton of like science-backed transcendental meditation stuff, and he basically talks about how you can like cure things through meditation. Like you can change your physical biology through a very specific way of meditation. And what he does in his big workshops is he's like, I want to bring up as many unbelievable stories from people up here as possible because I want you to think, I want you to finally see if they can do it, you can do it too. And like something about that this week really hit me of like, yeah, why not me? Like, if that person could do it, why not me? And it's not just like physical stuff, right? Like it's like those big dreams of like, if they can do it, why not me? So it makes me want to like go down a rabbit hole of listening to like of the big dreams that we have of like finding Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza. Um, his book Becoming Supernatural is what I first listened to, and then I've gotten various different meditations now of his that I'm listening to every day, and then I am doing his one of his online workshops basically. And it's just, you know, I'm trying not to let my mind go into worst case scenario or fear mode with the cancer stuff. And so this is a way for me to stay really focused on the positive, really focused on who I want to be in this world right now and how I want to become. And I feel like it goes so hand in hand with the Artist Way because it's like the focus on like show yourself the examples of people who are doing it. So like Kristen, if there's that big dream that you have, like start finding as many people as you can to look at their success stories and how did they do it, and remind yourself over and over and over again, if they can do it, you can do it. Like, I'd love to hear anyone else's thoughts about chapter 5.
I don't know that I have any good thoughts about this, because I felt so much resistance to all of the activities. I like read the chapter and I like, you know, like it's like the virtue trap quiz and the other quizzes like that. I wish. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that right now. I'll go back to it. And then every time I like opened it to go back to it, I was like, no, I'm still not going to do that. So obviously I think there's something I need to explore there. So I don't have any insights into that, but I do think like what Monica was talking about, just like fear, or what Kristen was just saying about like I'm not worthy to have those wishes. Like though both of those things like kind of just felt made me feel a little bubbly inside, like, oh, maybe that's some of the reason why it feels like the dreaming is scary. And I know for me, like one thing that this whole process has kind of showed me is that for a long time, like I think I've just kind of been letting life happen to me. And then it sort of absolves my responsibility because I'm like, oh, well, I didn't really decide that. That just kind of happened. And then I dealt with it, or like, and so, and I don't know if because I just had like a milestone birthday, if it's sort of this realization, like, okay, like I spent the first 40 years of my life letting life happen to me. I don't want to spend the next 40 years of my life letting life happen to me. I really want to like be able to take control. But then when there was an exercise to say, like, let's say you don't have these parameters, what do you wish? What do you dream? And I was just like, nah, I'm not going to do it. So I don't know what that means yet, but it's fun to have this space to explore, and it's really helpful to hear what other people are thinking and processing too. So thank you guys.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think that it is scary to think about like what we want and how we want to design our life. And that can be, it just can be its own challenge. Because it's, aside from as a child being asked, what do you want to be when you want to grow up? Which is a weird question, right? Like, I want to be me. Like, that's who I want to be when I grow up. I want to be me. What I do is kind of obsolete. I mean, you know, like we're not taught how to dream. We're not taught how to, I don't even know what the word is, but like an expansive dreaming. Like we're not taught how to allow ourselves to be open, to set an intention and be open to possibility. And so this book is asking us to do that. And if it's not something that you have experience doing, it's terrifying. It's like, well, what do you mean? What do I want to do? Like, what do you mean I get to choose that? It feels very strange. And I will tell you, creating art for me, physically making art is such a playground, and it's such a vast playground in that for those of you that were on the call last week, you saw I had that big piece at on the wall, and I did a second one, so there are now two. And so much of art for me is like, I'll get this idea and it'll be like, okay, who's gonna tell me no? You know? And then I'm like, well, wait a second. I get to do whatever I want. This is art. Nobody's gonna tell me no. It's the what if. And I think as a kid, for me, the what if was not a safe place. And T, this harkens a little bit to what you were saying of like, okay, now you're in this place of like, things are going pretty great and it's scary. It's very scary. And so we can like still have so many antenna up that we haven't allowed ourselves to fully understand that like all that is now necessary is like your curiosity, and like you get to explore your curiosity and whatever excites you and follow the excitement. And I think I've finally gotten to this place, and maybe the last year, it's the reason why I didn't set a goal for this year, is I wanted to allow myself to be in the curiosity, in like I finally feel like it was safe enough for me to be in the curiosity. And I still am feeling that way, to be honest. I'm like in tremendous curiosity about what's happening and about like the art I can make and the life I'm getting to shape right now. And it does take time and it takes practice to embrace that we are allowed to play. We're allowed to play. We're allowed to be curious. We're allowed to make space. It's safe for us to make space, mentally, physically, emotionally, right? And like Kelly, you were talking about how much space you were creating in your life this past week. And it's like, it's going to take you a minute probably to even get comfortable with the space that you have now created. Like it might feel really good, but that's a whole new thing. And not only has that created physical space, it's freed up some mental space. So it's like a new shift in your brain. So it doesn't surprise me that you had a hard time with that exercise. Like you're getting comfortable with these little layers of expansion. All right, any thoughts on that or chapter 5? Yeah, T.
On my book, it's page 98. She says, we strive to be good, to be nice, to be helpful, to be unselfish. We want to be generous, of service, of the world. And then in italics, but what we really want is to be left alone. And I am like, when I read that, like I swear every time I read that, I just like see a toddler like in a mud puddle with like just in their boots, just stomping around going, leave me alone, leave me alone. Like, because I know that feeling of just like, God, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. What am I doing? Nothing. Go away. There are bigger problems. Leave me alone.
Or even good things, right? Like even like lovely, like so much love, check-ins from people you love and whatnot. And like but the amount of energy that takes to like respond when I just want to like be a monk in a cave. Like literally, I do. I just want to be a monk in a cave for most of my life.
I have a friend who's a very much an introvert, and she had to have a surgical procedure, and her family's a lot. They're a lot, and they have trouble understanding her need for space. So I told her what I was going to do, as far as energetically beforehand, and I didn't communicate with her at all, and it as an extroverted word person, it killed me. And then we talked like 3 weeks, a month after, and I was like, that was my gift to you. And she was so grateful. And I was like, it killed me, bitch, it killed me. And she was like, I know, and that's why I value it so much. But it was like, it's true. Like that's what we can do for people sometimes, is let them have their space.
Mhm.
And I'll admit, for me, as a person who's a very verbal processor and very extroverted, I am over here on this other side, not asking, not reaching out, not sending a meme, not dying, but I know it's the most loving thing I can do.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right, what else from chapter 5?
It's I guess I was just thinking I'm still struggling with um the artist concept. It's still hard for me
Mm.
to not think about this as art, Alicia, as painting as art. And I know I know it's much broader than that. And maybe that's me also just having a hard time tapping into where those creative pieces are for me. But that's still a part of my struggle. And I'm not quite sure why after all this time I'm still struggling with that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you like to color?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat. Yeah.
Have you tried to paint?
No.
Maybe just give it a try. Maybe take
But
a class.
I think of painting as my stick figures that you, you when you're a kid doing stick people.
I mean, maybe try. I mean, you've got access to the watercolor membership, right? All of you do, and there's so many tutorials. And the way I teach watercolor, you don't have to know how to draw, you trace. So and it's a structured play time. I'm not saying that you have to even do art to be creative or to unlock your creativity, but I do think when you say that you're struggling with play, I think
Mhm.
being in a creative space, whether that's taking a sewing class or a painting class or a clay something or a tufting class. I mean, that's really cool. I want to take a tufting class. Or I mean, anything, even remote collage, scrapbooking, whatever, knitting, crocheting, crafting in any way. I think that there is something with the working with our hands. It's the piece that gets us out of our head into our body somatically. Like for me, art gets me into a more somatic experience than an up here experience. And so I think it is not about becoming an artist with a capital A at all. And I get why you'd be having a hard time with that, but I wonder if there's something for you in the resistance to picking up one of those things, because that's about embracing something somatically.
Mhm.
So that would be, did we talk about that? You play the piano, right? Or did play the piano?
I did play, yes.
And you have a piano.
I do.
Do you ever go play on the
I
piano?
haven't lately, but I could.
I mean, that's another somatic
Yeah. Okay.
experience.
Gotcha.
Right. And I mean, imagine that there's something to even doing the drills and the scales and the like that stuff that's like just that we know by heart. that gets us into a physical repetition of some sort can be really helpful. I don't know if that's useful.
That's very helpful. Yeah.
What else about chapter 5? There's so much in this chapter, guys. I mean, it's a lot. Monica?
I was super happy and excited. So I really love almost all of the exercises except for the one of the first ones. But for if I were 20 and had money and if I were 65 and had money, they were the same. And I was like, okay, cool. I got it.
Do you want to tell us
So,
what it was?
yeah, I mean, I would just, I mean, I'm in Switzerland now, but I would either pack up and have a place in Italy and a place in France and just study with an artisan and take more language classes. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Oh, you're doing it.
I can definitely do that now.
You're doing it. You've been doing it.
The studying with an artigiano, not so much, but we'll get there.
You will. You will. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. What else about chapter 5?
Can I just, I might talk too much here, but
Oh, go ahead.
but this is calling to me, and it's directed a little bit at Duanova, but the earlier you had mentioned being like super serious, and I feel the same thing. And I came to art during COVID, and it literally was like accidentally like jumping into some tutorials like what Alicia does. And so it was like, and I still don't think I can draw or do art or anything, but I do lots of tutorials and most of them look pretty decent when they're done. But what it's done for me is like, I think I can actually call myself a recovering perfectionist, because I just told myself, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to try it. And it's the only place in my life that I had ever let myself be less than perfect. And it has been so freeing and so, frankly, at this point, life-changing for me to just have a space where I can let go and not be perfect. And it's translated into other parts of my life. And so anyway, I feel like maybe there's some similar, like, coming from the same place, and it's just the taking the time to do it and not be perfect, and who cares if it looks like a stick person. The process of just accepting that it's not perfect has been good for me. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Kristen. I can relate to that as well. I mean, I think that I started as like, I'm not an artist, so it doesn't matter if it's perfect or not because I'm not an artist is how it started. And then I'm like, oh, guess what? I'm an artist. It was like, oh, ha, 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 universe, I see you. But it was a similar thing of like, I wasn't worried about any part of it being perfect because that's not how I identified. And so I think that there's actually a gift in not seeing yourself as an artist. I think it's can be harder for people whose identity from a kid has been artist. There might even be something even harder in that because then when you aren't making what you want to make or when you become blocked, then your identity is gone too. And like it's a little bit we got it a little easy if we didn't see ourselves as an artist as a child, I think, in some ways, because it can become that place where you learn that you don't have to be perfect here. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kristen. All right, what else about this chapter?
I think it's interesting that you just brought up identity because I relate a lot to the virtue trap of like being a martyr and like, oh, I'm a mother and like that I can't do this stuff for myself because I'm like doing stuff for my kids. And I know that's a fallacy or a false dichotomy, but I feel like I've lived so much of my life in that space of like, yeah, but I'm such a good mom. Like I'm such a good mom. Yeah, I'm killing myself, but I'm such a good mom. And but also realizing the holes in that, right? Like I'm not showing my kids what a whole person looks like. I'm just like doing everything that they need. And I think there's balance there, right? I'm not saying I'm gonna just like ditch my kids and take off and do whatever. Um, although it'd be fun. But but the balance there, right? Like doing those things and showing them that I'm doing things for myself. And I've even had conversations about it recently with them. Like one of my kids was like, "Yeah, but I want you to like do this thing with me right now." You know, and I was like, "I get that, but like I need to do this for me." You know, so I think the virtue trap, I definitely like almost underline the entire thing while I'm going through reading it. Because I relate so much to like being caught up in trying to be a good mother and show what that looks like to the world at the expense of not doing those other things.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's the virtue trap, and where are we playing the martyr? And yeah, it's.
And even having that reinforced though, because my mom was an even bigger martyr. And if I mention anything that I'm doing for myself, I always get this look of like, who the fuck are you? Like, why would you do those things for yourself? Because she never did any of those things for herself, you know, and she did her best, you know, but being like, yeah, mom, wouldn't it have been nice if you had done something for yourself?
What are your forbidden joys, y'all? So it's on 101. It was the exercise forbidden joys and exercise. List 10 things you love and would love to do, but are not allowed to do. I was curious what some of those were. Let's popcorn it out.
I'm just going to piggyback on myself. My forbidden joys are doing things by myself. Like if I'm doing it with a friend, I can justify going out even to dinner or something like that. I can totally justify it if there's another person involved. Never have I ever had someone babysit my kids so I could do something
by
by
yourself.
myself.
That's your homework.
I
That's
will-
your homework. Between
I
now
even-
and when I come back, I'm gonna call you out, Sarah. That's your homework assignment.
Okay. I even date people just so I have a reason to go out.
Oh my God. You have to do it twice while I'm gone. You just upped your homework assignment. By yourself. Take yourself on a date all by yourself, not with another person. Who else had a forbidden joy?
I think my forbidden joy would be to play hooky from work just because. Like usually when I take off from work, it's for a reason, it's a purpose, but like just to take a PTO day just because, that would be a forbidden joy for me.
That's your homework assignment between now and when I get back. I'm gone a
Okay.
month. So when I get back, I want to know about what you did on your PTO day off. For fun.
For fun, right? Yeah, not at the house doing stuff. Yeah, exactly. No, you're
Not for
right.
a doctor's
Yeah.
appointment,
Right.
not
Yeah.
to go get the car
Yeah.
tires rotated. Yeah.
Okay.
Who else wants a homework assignment? Give it to me. You want to know what coaching with me is like? That's what coaching with me is like.
I honestly couldn't think of anything I would forbid myself. I mean, unless I was like, maybe sometimes I'm like spontaneously, I should just go and get a tattoo, but I don't. Then I'm like, a tattoo? I don't know. But
Serious.
maybe I don't know. I'm like, what do I forbid myself to do? I mean, honestly, I don't feel like I forbid myself to do. I'll talk myself out of things, but there's nothing where I'm hard and fast. Oh, you could never. In fact, I think if I ever tried to tell myself you could never, I'd be like, oh, watch me, and I'd go and do it.
All right, ladies, we are about at that time. This is such a rich chapter. So for next week, I want you to read Recovering a Sense of Abundance. and take yourself on an artist date and do your morning pages. And then let me give you the lineup. So next week, so I think I've explained that while I'm out, you've got some incredible, incredible facilitators who are going to be taking care of you. So the way I set this up is it's people who have taken the Artist Way before or have done the Artist Way before. So it could be an alumni. Some of you are even alumni. But next week, Jeannie Duncan, my friend Jeannie Duncan is going to be facilitating. She's incredible. Yeah, you're in for a treat with Jeannie. And then our very own Sarah Britt is going to be facilitating on May 23rd. And then May 30th, Lynn Kuntz is going to be facilitating. That's Jeannie's wife. And then on June 6th and June 13th, my friend Rebecca Idelette is going to be facilitating. So those of you know Rebecca from Raw. And so you've got just an incredible lineup of facilitators. And so what I've asked everyone to do is it will be generally the same structure as we do within this hour, but I asked them each to share how the Artist Way has impacted their life. So you're going to get a flavor of each of them. And this goes along with like, if they could do it, you could do it too type of things. So you're really getting some really great facilitators. Replays might take a little longer while I'm out for me to get up for you guys. It's like the only teeny tiny work thing that I'm doing during that time away. But unless I can talk Jade into doing it for me, we might see. Maybe I'll talk Jade into doing it for me. But you'll have your replays, and yeah, you're just all in for a treat. I know that even though I'm gonna be gone, I know you're in incredible hands, and it's probably gonna be even better than if I was here. So it's gonna be just such a great experience for all of you, and I'm excited to hear about what happens while I'm away. So stick to it, stick to your homework, enjoy your facilitators, and I can't wait to hear what's transpired in this next month, because I know good things are going to transpire. Now, really quick, like popcorn takeaways from each of you. Kristen, can I start with you?
Sure. This one's been emotional for me. I've been like on the verge of tears. The thing that I wrote down was kind of early on, just hearing you say that you're allowed to be in the space, the curiosity space, the playful space, the healing space, it just like, I'm like, what? And anyway, it was pretty overwhelming for me just to hear someone give me permission to do that. I'm still not sure I will, but it hit me.
I hope you can. Kelly, how about you?
I feel like my whole notes page today is things that you were saying, Alicia. I hope you know how incredibly wise and inspiring you are. And I'm gonna start crying too. This has been emotional for me this week, and I don't totally know why, but you just saying like, if they can do it, so can I, like that is just really resonating with me. And when you were talking about not being ever taught like how to dream, how to have those expansive dreams, like I think that's just really like a beautiful thing to think about. Like if we can just allow ourselves to dream, like what like that's so incredible and so scary. But yeah, thank you for this week. I really appreciate it. And I call this my Rudolph nose. You always know how I'm feeling. Once my nose turns red, I'm gonna start crying. I've been this way my whole life. It's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you so much, T.
Always take it to the page, and also, why not me? Why not me?
Yes.
And I'm gonna miss you. Mary Deep Healing.
Thank you. Thank you. Dwinelva.
I guess for me, what you said about all this needed is curiosity. That's really stuck with me. So thank you for that. And so I can't say anything else because I will cry. So I'm just going to stop. Okay.
Sarah.
To do my homework.
Yes. I can't wait to hear about it. I want a full report. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for being here. You all are amazing, and I will be back in about a month. I will see you soon.